Hey, hello, friends. It's 4:20. Time to get high. So, my friend asked me to talk about what it means to be a friend. Friend is a very big deal in Torah. There is chaver, which means sort of your partner. Not like a man and wife, but like another person that maybe you learn with, or you work with, or you're friends with, is your chaver. But there's a higher type of friend, which is called royeya, as in v'ahavta l'reika kamocha, to love your friend more than you love yourself. And this is called klal Torah, klal Shabbat. This is a generality in Torah, and that this is considered the one commandment of the 613 commandments, which is greater than all the commandments, even though we never say that. We never say that this one is more than that one, but this is a klal gadol Shabbat Torah, a generality, a big generality that encompassed the whole Torah, v'ahavta l'reika kamocha, to love your, and this is written in the Torah, written 3,500 years ago, v'ahavta l'reika kamocha, to love your friend more than you love yourself. Who does one love more than themselves? They love the way they smell, they love the way they feel, they love the way they think, the way they walk. We love ourselves. And to love someone else like you love yourself is a huge thing to do. The question is, why does the Torah say v'ahavta l'reika kamocha, to love your friend? How about people who are not your friends? Aren't you supposed to love them also? The Torah doesn't say love everybody. The Torah says love your friend like yourself. Now, we can love people who do things wrong. As it says, you shouldn't hate the person, you should hate what the person does. And even, we're human beings, someone does us wrong, that, we hate the person. Yeah, I was on this bus, a few months ago before the election, and this guy got off the bus with me. We just started talking, and within a minute, he said, if Trump walked down the street, he'd kill him. That's hatred. He said, I don't care what they do to me, nothing. I'd kill him. That's hatred. I want to kill someone. That doesn't get any more than that, But obviously, we can, and it's interesting because there's a commandment not to kill, both in the 10 commandments for the Jewish people and the 7 commandments for everybody else. One of them is don't kill. So, and when do you do that commandment? You do that commandment when you want to kill. You can't say, well, I'm doing a commandment now, I'm not killing anyone. But you have to want to kill someone and say, no, I can't do that. God commanded me not to do it, so I'm not going to do it. If it wasn't for that, I'd probably kill you. And that's keeping the commandment not to kill. And certainly we're supposed to love everything in creation. Creator created it. But we don't necessarily have to learn, love the person. We can hate them. Some people are just assholes, we just hate them. Because they make life bad for us, like that bitch McConnell, or that, could go on and name these people. Those are just the politicians. A whole bunch of other, really ratty people in the world. There's lots of bad people in the world. And we're not commanded to, to love them. These, we can do it in a, just a superficial way. Like you do when you put someone in jail, that you see that they eat and they, they sleep and they have basic human things, we should do that to, all the people in the streets, but they only get that if they do something wrong, get thrown into jail. Anyways, so we see that there's certain people that are friends, and the commandment is that person's your friend. You should love him more than you love yourself. That if you would do this, you should love it as you love yourself. And meaning that if you would give yourself such a thing, you should give it to, to your friend. Give it to your friend first. And there's there's some examples in Torah, like a friendship, and probably the greatest friendship. Probably the greatest friendship is the friendship of two brothers. It's known that the love between brothers is the greatest love that there is, really between siblings. And so there are two brothers, and this happened a long time ago, maybe even before the flood. I don't know. And there were two brothers, and each one lived on a hill, and in between there was like the valley. And it's called the kind of configuration, is considered like the back of the ox. The ox has these two blades, shoulder blades coming up, and between it is the back. And that's considered, just really beautiful. And that's where the two brothers lived. One lived on this side, one on the other side. And one brother had lots of children. And the other brother had no children, but he had lots of wealth. So one night, in the middle of the night, the brother woke up, who had lots of wealth. He said, "This is ridiculous. I have all this wealth. I don't have any children. I should bring my wealth to my brother. He has children. He could use it." So he loads up his wagon. At the same time, the other brother woke up. And he said, "It's not right. I have all these beautiful children. I have wealth also. I should take my wealth, put it in my carriage, my wagon, and take it to my brother." He was so inspired, he just got up in the middle of the night, put all his wealth in a wagon, started going down into this valley to get to the other side, to the other mountain where his brother lived. And in the middle of the night, under the full moon shining down on them, the two brothers saw each other coming to one another and realized what was in the heart of the other brother. And they ran to each other and they kissed each other. And God said, "That's where I want my temple built. That's Jerusalem." So that's that's an example of the Ahavta l're'echa kamocha. Another example is Dovid and Yonatan. It says the love between Dovid and Yonatan, there was no love greater than the love between Dovid and Yonatan. And at that time, Shaul, he was the first king of Israel from the tribe of Benjamin, and who certainly, the big thing a king wants to do is see that his crown is passed over to his son, and that was Yonatan. However, there was a rival for the kingship from Yehuda, and that was Dovid. And Dovid was very great, but he was very given over to the king. And even when the king tried to kill him, that he wouldn't respond. Instead, what he did, that he the king was like chasing after him, and Dovid was hiding in a cave. And Shaul came in to take a shit. And while he was shitting, Dovid, he sneaked over and cut off part of his robe. And the king left and went out, and Dovid came out the mouth of the cave and showed him the robe, that he could have killed him, but he didn't, because he's the king. And the king said, all right. And for a while he went back. And so Dovid and Yonatan had no reason to be friends because they were rivals. Plus the fact that they were men, and according to Jewish law, Jewish men cannot be with other men. So they couldn't love each other physically, and they couldn't like really be friends in front of the king, because the king hated Dovid. And Yonatan had every reason to hate Dovid. He got nothing from Dovid because Dovid was going to be the king instead of him. But it didn't matter. They loved each other. And that's a very important component of friendship, is love. The highest type of love is to love someone beyond yourself. That says that if there's two people, and they're let's say not fighting, but let's say they're on a life raft together, or a life, just one of those circle things you throw a life, not a life raft, laugh right, whatever. And the one guy, he has it, and the other guy comes swimming over, and if he grabs it, they're both going to sink. So the guy can say, hey man, sorry, but it is mine. But the friend would say, come on, man, hold on, we'll sink together. There's another story, a more recent story, took place in Europe, where the Jews were always like really looked down upon because of the Bible and the story that they killed God. So there was a problem in town, and someone needed to get arrested. So they arrested a Jew. This Jew, he had a friend, and so the friend came to the hanging. And just as they were about to hang this guy, the friend yells, "You got the wrong man. I'm the guilty one." So, the governor, he didn't care. He just have to hang a Jew. He says, hey, bring him up. We'll hang him. And the Jew they were about to hang started arguing with him. Said, wait a minute, man. You took me. You had a whole trial. You made this whole thing. And now you're going to hang someone else? I insist you hang me. So the guy says, no. Yeah, all right, I'll hang you. And the other guy says, no, you got to hang me. I'm the guy who actually did it. And they all, started arguing, these two guys. Finally, the governor understood what was going on, that these two were friends, and each one wanted to give their life for the other friend. So the governor said, okay, this is the decree. I'm going to hang you both unless you let me into your friendship. And presumably they did, And whenever there's love between people, the real governor, the king of the world, God is between them, because that's what God loves. God loves love. God loves creation and wants creation to love creation. And particularly the human being, who has more sense and certainly free will than any animal or thing in the world, that we sort of set the bar of love, of friendship. And certainly all peoples in the world, we all come from the first human being, male and female, and we're all brothers and we're all friends. But if you do some fucked up shit, people are going to hate you. And no one's required to, to love you, if you're not a good human being. But someone who is a good human being, that's our friend. May you know him, you don't know him, he's a good human being. Let's help this person. Let's help him more than I would help myself. And that's upon that, maybe one doesn't get a lot of reward from that, but that's very meritorious in the eyes of God. And that's enough, when we our time runs out on this planet and we go to the next world, the main thing we want is not to be embarrassed, because they're going to ask us what we did, and the things that we did that were good and beautiful things will somehow be I can't think of the word that I want, but we will be manifest in heaven in some way. One of the ways is garments. The person will have these beautiful garments because a person did beautiful deeds in the world. Yes. So someone wrote to me, and I really invite people to ask questions before or during these little talks. And about that, this is really what we all want. And truly it is. You see little children, the first thing they want to do is love. You see a little child, you just want to hug them, and that's the human being. That's what's natural to the human being. When the human being goes into puberty and the teenage years, becomes the opposite, and they become real pessimistic. And by 20, we become like a mature human being. But there is the problem of the ego, and certainly the ego does get in the way. And the thing is, everything has an ego in this physical world. Even the stone has an ego, because if you walk into the stone, into the rock, it ain't gonna go anywhere. It says, I am here. And that's the ego. The ego is I. And we need to have an ego. If we didn't have an ego, we would just let people just walk all over us. And, some people, they have a big ego. No one's going to walk over. So we have a little ego. I don't care. Walk over me. What does it matter? But we need to have an ego. And there was this guy once, and he was very close to this Rebbe, who they were trying to find something on this dude, see. So they took one of his followers and they tortured him, in Russia. And the guy didn't break. So they let him go. So the other, people, they asked him, how did you do that? How could you do that? And he said it was all ego. That I was a follower of this Rebbe and I wasn't going to break. And that was where his ego was. That he was connected to this person. That's where he put his ego. It wasn't an ego like, oh, I'm so important, I'll tell you anything. I mean, some of us don't have that kind of bravery and strength. And, I'm certainly one of those. I'd be happy to tell you anything, man. You want to know, I'll tell you. But some people, they have a strong ego and they use it in the right way. The ego is not good or bad. It's just how we use it. And so that's perhaps why it is that the Klal Gadol B'Torah, V'ahavta l're'echa kamocha, to love another person as we love ourselves, is really about the ego. I remember once when I was a little kid, and I was like maybe 5 or something before I went to school, and I really wanted a gun. I mean, not like the play gun, you see, in the cowboys. So my father said to me, he explained to me something about charity or whatever, and he said, okay, look, the gun's going to cost $10, and I'm going to give you a choice. It's your choice. You can have the gun, or you can give the $10 to someone who really needs it. And he says, but it's your choice. I put no pressure on you. And I thought about it, and I really wanted the gun. So I said, I want the gun. My father got mad at me, started hitting me. What's wrong with you? And I was surprised. But you told me it was my choice. And that's really, that's the choice we always have. Because as a child, I mean, children, that's what they're supposed to do. We're supposed to, they're supposed to want things. And you tell a child's very direct. Tell a child you can have it if you want it. I want it, I'll have it. It's hard to understand these nuances, things. Now, what parents expect, at least mine, you tell you this and you got to do it. I mean, it's antithetical to a child, but when a person grows up, it's not antithetical. We understand that those are the two choices that we have to make in life, whether we're going to love ourselves. And that it brings us to the idea of love. What is love? So in Hebrew, love is ahav, and which can be broken down to two words. I give, that's love. To say I love you is not much. It's just words. But to give someone something, that's why people give gifts. It's a sign of I love you. Just to say I love you, or to feel that I love you, or to give you a kiss, I love you. I want to do more than that. I want to give something to you. And so people give gifts. They take some out to dinner, or they buy them a car, or, because I love you. And that's what we're supposed to do. We're human beings. We're supposed to love one another. And you can't, the thing with love, giving, that there's two types of love, see. There's a giving that expects something back. And that's a bad kind of love. That ain't true love. That's sort of negotiation. I'll give you this, you give me that. There's a lot of people do that. I've met people like do that in sex, that I'll do this for you, you do this for me. I mean, not me. I wasn't, but that's how people look at it. And but the true love is you give without caring if you get anything back. It doesn't matter. The main thing is to love. And you could love someone for many years. In the end, they could say, I never loved you. Doesn't matter. I loved. That's the main thing. Whether we don't know what's in the heart of other people, because people can fake love, they can fake sex, they can fake everything. You never really know. And some people are good at convincing. Some people just want to be convinced. They don't look at what's in front of them. Nonetheless, if a person loved, whatever it is, the love should be without a reason. And this was the love of Dovid and Yonatan, a love without a reason. They had no reason to love each other, but they loved each other. And that's the greatest love. And that's how we should love. We should love without a reason. I mean, we could like someone could be beautiful, but these are all sort of external things. The real love is sort of a heart-to-heart thing. It says what comes from the heart enters the heart. And that's where love is. Love is in the heart. And, the arms are connected to the heart, and the hands connected to the arms. And that's how we give things. With our hands, we give our hand to someone. We want to say hello or goodbye, and we give them our hand. All of this is an act of love. Love is about giving. And, you can't give everything. I mean, you can, and some people do. In certain times in life, it's appropriate. Just give it all. Who cares? I'll go get more, or I don't need it, or whatever it is. But the best way to give is to give with your heart. The saying, better to give with a warm hand than a cold hand, which means that many people, they write a will, and they wait till they die. And, everyone dies the same way. They open up their hand, here, take it. I'll keep it till the last minute. I might need it, and now you can take it. And that's giving with a cold hand. You die, your hand goes cold, opens up, take it all. Better way to give is when the hand is warm, because when the hand is cold, it's not a mitzvah. You can't do a mitzvah by, waiting till you die. Well, maybe you can. I don't know. I shouldn't make that, Yeah. People die and they leave their money to charity. I guess that's a mitzvah. Leave it to their children, whatever. It's a mitzvah. You did a good thing, a commandment, but certainly the better way to have done it is you do it while you're alive, while it means loss to the person. And that feels good, to take something of your own and to give it to somebody else. And that's just a great feeling. And in Jewish law, we're not allowed to take ribit from, like with money. You're not allowed to charge interest. So some people have been so careful that if someone lends them some money and the person returns it, they don't want the person to say thank you, because that's a type of rebate, a type of interest that, I lent it to you, you gave it back, that's it. I don't want to thank you, I don't want nothing. So let me read this, and another nice little. A man made a huge meal for his friend. His friend had said, "I can't take this. I have nothing to give." The guy replies, "Seeing you happy is the gift I want." There you go, man. And there's another, it reminds me of another story that they say that when we die, we go to a place and it can either be good or bad. And why? Because we're in this table, so we're along this long table, and we all got spoons, see, but the spoons are very long and our arms are very short, so it's very hard to get to get the food into your mouth, and that's like frustrating. And how can it be good? When we feed each other. When we feed each other, then, everything is fine. And certainly we should be doing that. And we shouldn't be living, in a way where we feel we have to get everything for ourselves because people are having a hard time around us and we don't want to be part of them. On the contrary, that, it's not about like communism or capitalism, but, when our brother and sister are living on the street, this is unacceptable. It's just unacceptable. These are our brothers and sisters. Maybe they're good, maybe they're bad. You don't have to give everything to them. You don't even have to do, you have to make a kamoka, but you have to take care of people. There's nothing like a human being in the universe. And we're here for a short time, and we don't know whose life is beautiful to God. The ones that we see, all the famous people, God might be like, who cares? But the people we don't see, the people living on the street who has a minute-to-minute relationship with the Creator, knowing that the life and death is, moments away. Maybe that's who the Creator loves. So, some, say that, God loves the simple people. We know because God made so many of them. Didn't make a lot of special people, brilliant people, wonderful people. Just made a lot of simple people because those are the ones that God loves. So, anyways, as it reaches the end of my little self-imposed time limit here, let me wish everyone a good Shabbat, a happy rest day. It says God rested from Friday night to Saturday night, so we do too for 5,781 years. So anyone can join in. And talking about joining in, go to my website, dovidhouse.com. Buy a book. No one's bought one in months. And write a review. Anyways, with that or without that, I appreciate people listening to these words. They're not, they're my words, but they're the words that I have, the concepts and the ideas that I've learned from Torah. Didn't make these things up, just passing them along. And, it's unfortunate that the Jewish world is not more open to other people in the world, but, I'm going to do what I can to change that. So have a great Shabbat, you have time, check out my site, dovidhouse.com. Check out my book, Sex, a Metaphor to History. Trump 777 and 1,000 Years of Woman. Absolutely enlightening. Bye. Mm-hmm.